Thousands of athletes going for the gold, and as the clear champion of the bathroom, Dollar Shave Club deserves a gold medal. Dollar Shave Club has everything you need to look, smell, and feel your best. Shampoo, body wash, toothpaste, and of course, the best razors you'll ever use. You get an amazing high-quality shave every morning from the DSC Executive Razor. Plus, the true gold standard of any morning routine is their Dr. Carver Shave Butter. It helps the razor gently glide across your skin. Dollar Shave Club delivers everything to you. That means no more trips to the store, wandering the aisles, hunting for razors, shampoo, and toothpaste, then playing cashier, scanning and bagging your stuff. Go for the gold. Join Dollar Shave Club today, and for just $5 with free shipping, you'll get the 6-blade executive razor plus trial sizes of shave butter, body cleanser, and one-wipe Charlies. Then keep the blades coming for a few bucks more a month. Get yours at dollarshaveclub.com/Golic. That's dollarshaveclub.com/Golic.
This is the Best of Golic and Wingo podcast.
Mike, you were locked into the dog show last night.
Yeah.
Now, Flynn the Bichon Frise.
Yeah.
Winning Best in Show, but topping other contenders like Slick the Border Collie and a pug named Biggie.
Oh.
The choice was a surprise to most of the crowd at Madison Square Garden, with many fans falling silent when the 5-year-old white powder puff was picked.
So the wife and I were watching this. We watched it. Everything. We're flipping back and forth. We had the Cavs game. We had the Olympics. And we had the Westminster. I mean, it was a fantastic evening.
Right.
But of course, we were locked in on the 7 group winners for the dogs of who was going to be best in show. Saw the whole thing again, and yeah, it was a little surprising. There was a little bit of shock that Flynn won it. Now, listen, I love all dogs. I absolutely do. But I was a little surprised at this. I was pulling, I know you were as well, Mike, for Biggie the Pug. Biggie the Pug was a crowd favorite and was cute as hell, by the way, as they all are. Ty the Giant Schnauzer came in second. Bean the Sussex Spaniel was very impressive, was begging for his treat up on his hind legs, really trying to put on a show.
Right.
Looking like begging to the judge to kind of vote for me.
Right.
It was very, very cute in seeing that. But it was a little surprising that the Bichon Frise. Now, I will say, growing up, the people behind me, one of my best friends, Dave Neckick, his family, they had Bichon Frises. That's where I first, got to when I was younger. And I, like I said, love dogs. Some of them, they're cute dogs. But I was a little surprised at this one and a little bummed out for Biggie the Pug.
I was bummed out for Biggie the Pug.
Yeah.
Obviously, we're pug people. We're going to pull for the pug. This is surprising. No one. I have to express a certain level of disgust for this crowd. To fall silent for the big moment for Flynn the Bichon Frise is an absolute travesty. You should all be ashamed of yourselves. It is absolutely horrific what you put that dog through. That dog doesn't know what's going on. That dog knows it came there to hang out with other dogs and maybe see a few new humans, maybe get some pets, experience some smells that it hadn't experienced before. The gifts, there's no prize money. It gets a bull, lucrative breeding fees, and a lifetime of memories, which, congrats on the sex, but besides that, what else is getting the rewarded for the dog other than just a little bit of praise? And for the crowd to withhold that, even because of their shock in that moment, is despicable.
So, okay, you're saying shock, but then it should transform to awe.
Support, quite literal awe. It's a cute, wonderful dog.
It's not like there was some cheering. It's not like they booed. I mean, at no time at all did Flynn feel disrespected, I don't think.
You don't know that.
Oh, I don't. Flynn was getting enough treats at that point. Listen, Flynn was getting the treats. Flynn was happy.
How about the total numbers? 2,882 entries in 202 breeds and varieties. Among those who didn't make the cut, face-licking Spicy Nacho, the miniature bull terrier who drew laughs.
Yeah.
Just not the judges.
Just not the judges. And Mike mentioned Flynn. Flynn is going to go on some morning shows, a steak lunch at Sardi's, a trip to the top of the Empire State Building, and invited for a walk-on part on the Broadway hit Kinky Boots. So there's something that Flynn gets to do. No prize money at all. But what's the dog going to do with prize money? But you know what the owners are going to make and are going to make on the breeding money. That's what they're going to make money on.
Exactly.
Right.
Why are the owners getting all the benefits of this? I don't think
you don't
Flynn
think that dog is. You don't think Flynn gets treated great?
You can't eat an EGOT, Dad. You can't eat it.
Flynn is getting treated just fine. We're happy for Flynn. I don't think Flynn got disrespected. I was a little surprised at the silence at the beginning. Right. I think people were truly
shocked,
stunned,
right?
That Biggie didn't win this thing, the pug.
Yeah, but congratulations! Obviously, a wonderful event.
Golic and Wingo, the podcast. Trey Wingo and Mike Golic Sr.
Mike Jr. not sitting this segment out, but this could be a painful one. NCAA denied Notre Dame's appeal of a decision to vacate 21 football victories because of academic misconduct, including all 12 wins from the school's 2012 national championship game run. For those who are unaware, of course, that's when Mike Jr. was on the team, offensive lineman. Notre Dame's president, the Reverend John Jenkins, criticized the decision in a letter to alumni, saying the penalty was unprecedented considering who was involved in the misconduct and that the school was being punished for rigorously enforcing its honor code. Called the ruling unfair. Notre Dame agreed to accept certain NCAA findings, acknowledged cheating involving several football players and a student athletic trainer, but appealed only the penalty that vacated the victories. So the NCAA stripping the Irish 21 wins, fined the school $5,000 and placed the school on 1 year's probation. That was in November of 2016. Right. And just, of course, again, Mike Jr. knows as well. National runner-up in 2012, lost to Bama in the title game, finished 12-1, went 9-4 in 2013. Mike Jr., the floor is yours first.
It's gotten beyond the point because I did the initial rant when this came out. This is something I'd almost forgotten about through the course of the appeals process.
I had forgotten about it, quite honestly.
Absolutely. And we had the conversation the first time around where you look at it and you say, well, what's the value really of stripping away wins that we all know are there? I had someone tweet me this morning and say in the internet age where we can all go back and see those games, it's impossible to erase them.
Agreed.
But for a place like Notre Dame, where having those on the ledger matters, we're having it relative to your all-time position. We know that win percentage, they constantly waffle with Michigan 4-1-2 all-time. This knocks them down considerably.
To number 6.
That all really becomes secondary at this point because, again, you're not really going to rewrite history, but what you've done is you've now slighted someone who in this was really an ally for you, right? The way that Notre Dame operates, because you know this as well as I do, when they talk about that honor code is different. The honor code expects more out of you than what the NCAA is going to expect out of you as a student athlete. The barriers and the markers that you have to meet at Notre Dame are different. And so they're saying we held ourselves accountable and that wasn't good enough for you. Another instance, and we've seen plenty of them. I know Jay Billis had this tweet. The NCAA totally oversteps its bounds again. The Penn State overreach means nobody will investigate themselves again. This was a student issue to which Notre Dame applied its honor code. Now nobody will apply that honor code again. When you've got a school like Notre Dame that can be the beacon of this for you and say, we prop this up all the time. The NCAA loves the student-athlete mantra, and Notre Dame actually backs up what you're looking for in that, and now you've lost them. Good luck. For a sea full of people, a tide full of people already calling for, what do we need the NCAA for anyway? John Jenkins and company got to be looking at them and going, yep, exactly. What do we need you for?
Well, and for those who may not remember what went on, this was a couple of football players who were cheating and who were doing the cheating with a part-time assistant trainer. And basically what the NCAA said was that part-time assistant trainer was a representative of the institution. And basically what John Jenkins is saying, there's no precedent in previous NCAA cases for the decision to add a discretionary penalty of vacation of team records in a case of student-to-student cheating involving a part-time student worker who has no role in academic advising. And let me tell you, one guy that a lot of you may not know that we have gotten to know is Father John Jenkins, the president of Notre Dame. He's more of a quiet man, and he got riled. You riled that, and the letter he sent out in rebuttal to this, explaining a lot of these things much better than I would ever have a chance of explaining. You can get closer to him than certainly I can of explaining what's going on here, but to your point, I heard you before, and what Jay's point is as well. Notre Dame, I know a lot of people hate Notre Dame and say you're elitist and blah, blah, blah. Fine. But Notre Dame has higher standards to get in for student athletes than the NCAA does. That's a fact. It just is. So however you want to look at that. And what Notre Dame holds its student athletes to is at a higher standard than other schools and what the NCAA would deem these standards. And Notre Dame, they disciplined when these student athletes were cheating. And so to the point that everybody is making is now the NCAA comes over the top and vacates all these wins. That is what you're doing here. You're making schools now say, well, why the hell are we going to have an honor code? We're going to take care of our own here. We're going to discipline these people in honor code, but then you're going to come over the top and smoke us like this when you haven't done it before? Why are we going to do this anymore?
if I'm a kid and you and my mom were always the same, you wanted us to keep you involved in the things that we were doing, keep you abreast of what was going on, even if sometimes it was uncomfortable. If I do that, if I reward your trust by telling you something that I've done, something that might disappoint you guys, and you go back on that and punish overly harshly and lock me away for all time, what am I going to do the next time? I'm not going to tell you.
Yeah.
And so now that's exactly what they're going to face with Notre Dame and other schools who are going to say, all right, we don't believe that this is something that has overstepped crazy boundaries. We reported it because we believe it's the right thing to do. And what's our reward on the back end? Being punished for something that goes so far over the top that why would we ever put ourselves in that position again? So now you just create a breeding ground for more to go wrong in places where it's more likely to go wrong than here.
And I know one of the comparisons was North Carolina that went through
right.
And one of the reasons I believe the NCAA didn't jump in on that one because it involved regular students as well with the fake classes and fake curriculum and all that. But
right.
I mean,
athletes taking irregular courses.
I mean, holy smokes! You look at that situation. But they said, listen, it's not just athletes; it's regular students as well. Where this was student athletes and a part-time athletic trainer, so they felt it was more within their purview to come down and do this. It just And I know people can say, you guys went to Notre Dame. Yeah, we did. But listen, if this was about school X that wasn't Notre Dame, I'd be saying the exact same thing because I think it's ridiculous when you're taking care of your own, you're disciplining your own in an honor code that doesn't involve the curriculum or it's not institutionalized here as far as the cheating is concerned. I mean, man, it's a bit overstepping.
Is there a chance, Mike, like you said, so many people are Notre Dame haters, like you said, they don't like what the school stands for and all the rest of it, blah, 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 and Rudy, et cetera. Do you think there's a chance because the NCAA, therefore, that's why they're overreaching, they're saying, well, we don't want to be seen as being
Giving a break to them?
Giving a break to Notre Dame. So we're punishing maybe excessively just so nobody criticizes us of being pro Notre Dame. I know that's absurd. Why would that even happen? But is there a chance of that? When you're a big dog, you go, let's pound Notre Dame on this. We don't have to hear any feedback.
I think it's one of those where it's like in sports, coaches tend to punish the guys that they can get away with punishing. Right. They tend to punish the people in situations. You're never going to see someone's, let's put it this way, Malcolm Butler got sat down in the Super Bowl. You're not sitting down Tom Brady if it's a comparable situation. That ain't happening. And so with a lot of those other cases, they're big, they're really complex cases. They involve a lot of moving parts and a lot of impropriety that's really difficult to deal with in the public. Right. Stuff that the NCAA, we talk about all the time, is well out of its jurisdiction in dealing with. This felt a little easier for them. This felt a little bit more compartmentalized in a way that we could look at and they can say and justify as we think is wrong, and we're going to strip wins, and that's going to be the end of it. It felt low stakes enough. The problem is you thought it was a low stakes issue with a place that still carries a fair amount of weight. For whatever you want to say about the state of the football program, wins and losses wise, Father Jenkins and Jack Swarbrick and that group over there still wield a fair amount of power in college football circles, and I can't imagine this is going to be a group that's going to go to bat if the NCAA needs it going forward.
Another thought, speaking of football and people fired up, Charles Haley. This is crazy. The former defensive lineman / linebacker, Pro Football Hall of Famer. He was on the Dennis and Kalashaw show on 103.3 ESPN Dallas and went off on a variety of issues, criticizing the Cowboys from going 13-3 in 2016 to 9-7 this past season. And he said, I blame everybody. It's one team and everybody's together, and that's the key. I go over there and I tell guys, man, Jerry built this house for a bunch of damn losers.
Wow.
And they get mad. They have to do something about it. I can't do anything about it. I can't play. All I can do is give you some knowledge. Crazy that he said, and then the Eagles are so big, they're so busy getting on Twitter and Facebook and everything else. Maybe they should get in that playbook. Maybe they should learn how to rush, catch, and block. I mean, nobody's scared of them. Ain't nobody in the league scared of y'all. What y'all been doing is listening to people saying you've got the best offensive line in the business. I said, who's scared of y'all? Huh? Those little things like that, those intangibles, the attitude you take, I go over there and I watch guys work. I watch them go through drills. Charles Haley hammering today's Dallas Cowboys.
That was, a little Goose Gossage like, huh?
Yeah, I don't know what it is. If they put something in the Raisin brand for these guys, it's a bit off the norm, but to come out firing like that, I said this in general with football, but a lot of the problem becomes for the sport as a whole that your harshest critics are within the sport, so it gives everyone else credence to look at and attack.
Right.
The Dallas Cowboys are already a polarizing organization, so now you invite this out there for a team that is coming off a rough year, and the job for Jason Garrett and company continues to get put under that magnifying glass.
You know, and you just wonder, I guess you look around at everything. For us, it would be more like Notre Dame. Could you see yourself? I mean, that's where you play in the national championship game. You're there. Our whole family
redacted.
Between you, redacted. That if you saw if you felt the same way Charles Haley felt about the Cowboys, would you be speaking up like this? Would you be going off on that as well? I mean, because that's the team you're associated with the most. And Charles Haley is, well, he played for a number of teams. Right. There's no doubt about that. Associated himself when he was a Dallas Cowboy. That's the thing. I mean, would you go off like that?
You know what? I think there are ways to go about it because you can appreciate someone being critical of something they love, and I think we all do that to an extent. I mean, hell, that pops up with like in this building sometime. You have to be able to look at certain things objectively and call them out, but the tone with which you do it also matters. And for someone that cares when I go back on campus how I'm received, I'm always careful to say I don't want to be disrespectful because I understand what these people are going through. And I guess that's the thing that's shocking is Charles Haley understands what these guys are going through. Maybe that's what he feels like gives him the ability to say this, but you think it would also breed a little bit of empathy through the course of this.
Yeah, I guess you only criticize those that you love. Like if you didn't care about the team, you wouldn't be saying anything, but I hear you. You'd think if you've been through the situation, you'd be a little bit more careful.
Yeah, I think there are ways to do it as well, where you don't want to be that guy that says, oh, you're going to make an excuse for your team all the time. Listen, there's times you can be critical of play, X's and O's. We can break things down that we're critical of, but yeah, there could be a way of how far do you go from a personal attack as opposed to what you're seeing on the field.
I was going to say, criticism and constructive criticism.
Yeah.
Jerry built this house for a bunch of damn losers. May not be the best approach.
Golic and Wingo, the podcast.
What a day, what a show, what a time.
I tell you what, a great sports night last night. No doubt about it.
1, 2, 3, 4.
Hey everyone, Mike Golic here. Support for the Golic Wingo podcast comes from our friends at Rocket Mortgage by Quicken Loans. Chances are you're confident when it comes to your work, your hobbies, your life. Rocket Mortgage gives you that same level of confidence when it comes to buying a home or refinancing your existing home loan. With Rocket Mortgage, you can apply simply and understand fully so you can mortgage confidently. To get started, go to rocketmortgage.com/Mikes. Equal housing lender, licensed in all 50 states, NMLS consumeraccess.org number 3030.
Hey there, I'm a glue stick, so I have one job. I glue kid stuff. So sorry for being jealous of Geico, who does a ton more, like give you 24/7 access to thousands of licensed agents. And Geico has been around for over 75 years and has a 97% customer satisfaction rating. While I've just got mediocre adhesive skills, Geico also has an award-winning mobile app. Uh-oh, arts and crafts time. No eating the glue stick, Miss Lydia.
Geico. Expect great savings and a whole lot more.
Let's bring in our man, Larry Nance, three-time All-Star, 1984 Slam Dunk champion, joining us on the Shell Pennzoil Performance line, taking synthetic motor oil performance to a whole new level. Make the switch to Pennzoil Synthetics today. Mr. Nance, congrats on your son's performance last night. 13 points as the Cavaliers put up 120 and defeat Oklahoma City 120-112. What has been your reaction to seeing your son flourish now in his new home?
It's just been a blessing that to have him here, and you want your kids to do well at stuff, and making the NBA was pretty darn good. And making the NBA and getting traded to the team I played for, I don't know how we just deserve that. Me and his mom is really out of control excitement.
So there are, as I sit here and have my son sitting next to me, Larry, and we both were football players, and as you mentioned, you want your kids to do well. Now he's going to be in the slam dunk contest, and you won a slam dunk contest. Does it kind of end there and you say, hold on, son, you don't need to be better than me just yet in this thing?
Not at all. Not at all. I want him to be better than me. I want him to win the slam dunk contest. I want him to be better than me with the Cavs, because I've had my time, and I have so much fun watching him that I want him to just thrive at everything he does. So I'm looking forward to him winning. Hopefully he does.
Talking to Larry Nance in the Shell Pennzoil Performance line. When your son got traded to the Cavs, he had the chance to potentially unretire your number 22 and wear that, and opted not to. What was the conversation like, or was the one between you guys discussing that?
Well, it really wasn't a conversation, because as soon as he called me and let me know that he got traded here, I called the Cavs and said, he can have the number. Please give him the number. And I think he was calling saying, my dad deserved to keep that up there. And but, I got this summer. I'm going to just let him wear 24, and hopefully this summer I'm going to work on him all summer, because I would be nothing proud if he just had that number on his back, because he's wore it his whole career, and Well, he had to wear number 7 in L.A., but I would be proud if he wore it. I think he respects me, so we just going to have that conversation a lot this summer, and hopefully I can talk him into it.
We're talking with Larry Nance, Sr., 3-time All-Star, 1984 Slam Dunk champion. We'll talk about the dunk contest specifically in just a second, but it's just, it's a different vibe around Cleveland now. You know it as well as anybody, Larry. What is it like, do you think, as you being a former player and having your son there, just when a team seems a lot looser, you can feel like, Dave McMenamin, our ESPN reporter, said, you feel like the balloon's been popped now for this Cleveland team. What is that like, you think, for this team?
Well, it's crazy because the people around here are just talking. It's just a major buzz, and they're playing like it too. I think they all Jordan and Larry coming from the Lakers. They just they love this team, and having a superstar like LeBron on there that makes everything tick. And just got a bunch of great players that know how to follow suit, really. And they won 2 big games, and it's a lot of fun to watch them. They look like they're having a lot of fun, and that's what basketball is all about. That's when you really do well. So we hope they keep it going.
He comes from the Lakers, which was a young, really everybody was looking at this young up-and-coming team. Maybe you grab a couple of big-time free agents in the summer and see where they go. He goes to a team that is now looking to compete for a championship right now. What is he, in talking to you, what does he say to you about the vibe of the differences of the locker room of a young up-and-coming team to a team that's ready to win right now?
Well, I think, like you said, the Lakers were young up-and-coming, and from night to night, sometimes they would play really well, and sometimes they would just, look like a deer in the headlight look. But, they're a young team, got a bunch of nice people, nice players, and I think they're really going to do well, and they've been doing it lately. And then you come to the Cavs, which is a playoff team, and those 2 guys is I think the type of guys that's going to polish the team to make them just a little bit better. I know Larry will. He's the type of guy that's going to go out there and work and do all the hard work and make a team better. So he's excited to be in a playoff type team, and I just think he's just going to more and more he learn his role, the better he's going to be, as well as the better the team going to be.
And I think to that end, when you look at now the rest of the season, we get this natural break around the All-Star game and coming back. What do you see as the ceiling for this team now, knowing the ultimate challenge that lays at the end is the Golden State Warriors?
I don't think they know. I'm like LeBron. I wish they could not go to the All-Star break because they're really doing well and it's different stuff every night. So I don't really think they know what the ceiling is because the 4 guys they brought in is really going to do well along with what they have is if people go get rest and they have a lot of different pieces and a lot of options. And I think the sky's the limit, but I don't know what that I just don't know what to tell you with that because they showed really signs in 2 games of really doing really good stuff.
All right, Larry, now you got to give us the real good stuff. You won the inaugural Slam Dunk contest in 1984. Now your son is competing. What kind of advice have you given him? Can you give us any insight, any clues as to what he might do out there?
I would not do that. He told me 2 dunks, and I'm really excited to see him myself because anything he tell me, I try to picture, and the 2 he told me I cannot picture doing. So so I'm really excited to go out there and watch him and see what he do. But I'm proud of him one way or another. I hope he win because I know he wants to win really bad, and we'll have 2 slam dunk trophies. And I guess I have to take it and give him mine if he wins.
Larry, at what age did your son first beat you in 1-on-1?
He can't beat me now.
Oh, that's what I wanted to hear.
Yes.
Hey, look, you guys not getting me in trouble. You seen that big old boy? He's 6'9", 235. He's a machine. So when he went to Wyoming, I would say his second year at Wyoming, he was beginning to get a little too fast for me and everything. So it's nothing like. I'm sure you know too. Yep. There's nothing like in the world like watching your kids play, and when I could watch them practice, and it's better than any game I ever been in, and it's just such a blessing to be able to do what I'm doing right now with my kids, and I've been very fortunate to have a girl that went to Dayton, played basketball, wore number 22. We have Larry Jr. went to Wyoming, play basketball, wore number 22, and my little one is going to Northwestern, go wear number 22.
Wow.
So I've just been really blessed with watching great basketball, and it's just, I think you know what I'm saying.
Larry, we saw the great shirt of your son wearing a picture of you. If he wins, will you wear a shirt with a picture of him dunking on it?
I would love to. We just got to get it made, and then we will. And you'll definitely see me with it on because, it's a good honor to go win the slam dunk contest, and I think his chances are as good as anybody.
Like the man said, print the shirts. Larry Nance, three-time All-Star,
cool.
1984 slam dunk champion. Congrats on the success your son is enjoying in Cleveland. Good luck in the dunk contest, and thanks so much for the time.
Thanks, Larry.
Thank you, guys. You have a great day.
Golic and Wingo, the podcast.
It was all sort of one big giant Jell-O mold.
It's very interesting where that went.
Adnan Virk in for Trey today. This is Golic and Wingo on ESPN Radio and ESPN2. Keith Olbermann going to join us about 15 minutes from now. Talk baseball, new managers, Aaron Boone, Alex Cora, plus Goose Gossage going off once again. But it's always great to have Mike Golic Jr. in the house with us, first and last, 4 to 6 Eastern, every morning, weekdays. He's also a tremendous Twitter follow and the best tweets he's ever sent. I've asked him to tweet them again. Maybe we can retweet him from Golic and Wingo. M. Golic Jr. 57. There was a photo spread that Brad Pitt did. This was, after the breakup with Angie, and then he addressed the fact he was alcoholism and he was back.
Right.
So there's like a series of like scenic shots and such that he sent. Mike, can you describe it, what your reaction to those pictures were, and if we can replicate that photo shoot?
Yeah, no, Brad went out into nature to find himself, and it's something that right now, given the time of year, I think we can all do a little bit of searching. And I retweeted one of them where Brad is tastefully laid out in the ground, sort of like if you can imagine a marionette and someone's just dropped all the strings, really let go of himself in that moment. And I said, I can't explain what or how, but I definitely learned something about myself through this photo. You could just see it. There is so much soul present in these pictures.
You're a thinker.
There's
no
remarkable
doubt
man.
About that.
Deep thinker. And
my son is a thinker, and I hope you think long and hard about this one.
Too much Netflix, not enough chill. That's the headline. Why young Americans are having less sex.
Uh-huh.
Happy Valentine's Day, everybody. American adults on average are having sex about 9 fewer times per year in the 2010s compared to adults in the late 1990s. So that's a 14% decline in sexual frequency. So that's just adults. Now, 18 to 30-year-olds aren't doing it at all. From 2002 to 2004, 12% reported having no sex in the preceding year. A decade later, from the years 2014 to 2016, that number rose to 18%. And sex is also down among teenagers. 47% in 05, 41% in 2015. So while we're, of course, focusing on Mike Jr., the members of the millennial, born between 1980 and the mid-1990s, and iGen, born since the mid-1990s, generations are more cautious on average than earlier generations, and hence more inclined to focus on the emotional and physical risks of sex rather than its joys.
What do you have to say about that? Your generation's having less sex than my generation. What do you think about that, son?
Listen, I don't get to make those decisions. I'm at the liberty of the other party involved in here. I don't get to make those calls. I can walk in as ready as I want to be. It doesn't make a damn bit of difference.
Whatever your millennial group.
Listen, sorry,
less sex than my group.
Sorry, we're not just these crass, sex-hungry monsters. Sorry, I look at the whole person and all.
You know what it is? You know what it is? Maybe we just have better game. What do you think about that?
Let me tell you.
What do you think about that?
Anyone who's hung out with you for longer than 20 minutes can probably tell you that's not the case.
Listen, you know what this is classic case of? Deflecting right now.
Listen,
deflecting.
I like to take a mind and body approach because when we get where we're going.
Here's what I love, the explanations for less sex. It's because we're thinking about that or we're thinking about this. You know what? You just don't have it, man. You guys just don't have it.
That's fine if you want to be a volume shooter, man, and congrats. Yeah. I sit here as a receipt of said action, so I can't really say too much in this area, but...
Well, how about this? I mean, a sexual counter-revolution. That's what Douglas Murray at The Spectator said. The 1960s saw a freeing up of attitudes towards sex, pushing at boundaries. This counterswing is turning sexual freedom into sexual fear. Nearly all sexual opportunities into a legalistic minefield. It's just Yeah, that's terrifying the way you describe it.
Yeah, I don't really like all the explanations.
You lost him with all those big words.
Listen.
He's just like, I thought we were talking about sex.
Listen, I thought we were just talking about the fact the millennials are having less sex than I had when I was his age.
I'm getting more, and they're getting less.
That's all I was concerned about. You keep all your highfalutin words to yourself. Okay?
Legalistic minefield.
Just play the porn bed already. That's what I'm used to around here.
Play the porn bed and let's all laugh.
They say one of the problems is 16 and Pregnant, that MTV show. People are watching that going, hang on a second.
Hey, I tell you, that is real. There's one thing I celebrate. I pop bottles on my 20th birthday for nothing else other than the fact that I beat teen pregnancy.
Oh, my God.
That is a landmark victory in the world of millennials.
Oh, my God.
There you go, Dad. There's your porn bed.
There we go.
Yeah.
Woo! You and your brother and sister were subjected to this in your different locker rooms that you were in, right? When the show was on?
There's nothing like sitting in the training room at Notre Dame trying to ice up a hamstring and having to hear about your parents' sex life in front of everyone.
Woo! Had to ice up my hamstring, too. You know what I'm talking about?
What are you doing for Mike Jr., as we close with you, what are you doing for Valentine's Day?
I'm going to go home. I'm going to enjoy, hopefully, a dinner that I don't have to scrape off the floor.
Chipotle.
Yes, exactly.
You know what I'm doing for Valentine's Day?
Yeah.
Woo!
Bring up the music again.
How's that sound, son?
Please respect my mom.
Okay.
Golic and Wingo, the podcast.
Let's not expect too much. There's only one person out there that's expecting way too much out of this guy too early. We know who that is. It's his father.
Great to have NBA analyst Tim Legler joining us in studio, giving the Straight Talk, brought to you by Straight Talk Wireless, best phones, best networks, no contracts. Happy Valentine's Day, Legs.
Happy Valentine's Day to you guys, man. Valentine's Day gets beat up a little bit.
I
like it, man.
You do.
Yeah, I do. Yeah. I really do.
You do.
I like, I guess I'm a hopeless romantic,
It does get beat up, Legs. I was making the point earlier. People must have loved it when they invented it. Now people crush it. Like,
they just kill it. Oh, it's just a stupid holiday
who likes it
for
more?
People to make money.
Who likes it more, you or your wife?
We both like it equally.
You do?
Yeah, and I actually like it. I really enjoy. I have a nice day usually with my daughter too. Like,
I do as well. I always send my daughter flowers as well.
Absolutely.
But I always thought that whoever liked it more out of the couple, that's the person you had to appease the most. Like, if you didn't like it, but your significant other did like it, well, then you had to like it.
No, we
right?
both like it, but one thing we do agree on is we don't go like over the top with gifts and all that. It's just a nice night, usually romantic dinner, kind of just the two of us. That's usually what we do.
Right, there you go.
We're good with that. A nice card,
There you go.
Exactly. It's a thoughtful holiday, right? That's all.
Just remind each other,
Exactly.
Could all use a good reminder every now and then.
The Cavaliers don't need a reminder that after these trades, everyone's all in on them again. They scored 120 points, a franchise record, fourth straight game. Here's a number that stood out, Legs. LeBron James paced all scorers with 37, but the Cavs bench outscored the Thunder reserves by 31. That's the largest bench scoring differential by a LeBron James team in his career. How vital is that for this team?
Critical. Tyronn Lue hit it on the head after the game when he said it's nice to have so many guys that can dribble, pass, and shoot. And it sounds basic, but that's exactly what you're talking about when you describe a team like Golden State. They got more guys than any team in the league that can make plays. And they didn't have enough of that in Cleveland. They had a lot of one-dimensional offensive players. Mm-hmm. Everything built around LeBron James' greatness, and then a bunch of guys that did one thing. Either, you were a slasher diver that had to get offensive rebounds like a Tristan Thompson, or for the most part, a bunch of guys that stood around and just shot three-point shots. When you add guys like Jordan Clarkson, you add Hood, these are guys that can, George Hill, they can make plays off the dribble, they can spot up, catch, and shoot, they can slash, they can find people, and then you add a guy like Nance who, the day he walks in the locker room, is all of a sudden your best front court athlete at the 4 or 5 position. And so they've just given them so much more depth, a completely different look on both ends of the floor. And you're talking about the offensive numbers, but defensively, it's night and day what we saw from this team in the first half of the year.
So as we look at them trying to figure everything out, of the 4 new ones, George Hill the only starter, but Hood, Clarkson, and Nance coming off the bench have gotten more minutes in this last game than everybody except for LeBron and J.R. Smith. Do you see this lineup, not that the starting lineup is the end-all, be-all, but do you see more shifting to the starting lineup in minutes as they go on?
I'm not sure about that, but I do know that what I'm seeing for longer stretches in the game are lineups that they put out there that are all built around quickness and versatility defensively, where they have 4 similar-sized players that can switch everything. They didn't have that luxury. I mean, the lineups they've been putting out there, even the teams that have gone to the finals, they struggled with it, but was really bad at the start of this year. with some of the guys they had out there and how slow they were, how small they were, and really just limits what you can do defensively. So now they go through long stretches where they can literally switch at 4 different positions, maybe even 5 if Nance is at the center. He did it a few times last night in the fourth quarter, switched on a ball screen, and he didn't give up anything because he's quick enough to slide his feet, and if he does get beat, he's athletic enough to recover and still contest a shot at the rim. So that's what's been interesting to me, is to watch the transformation to a team that can actually get after you a little bit in the half court. They weren't doing that at all. They weren't pressuring the ball. They were really reactive to what you wanted to do. Now they're dictating it a little bit more. Here's what we're going to do to you defensively, and you've seen it now, at least through 2 games, and it's paying great dividends, these moves they made on last Thursday.
Tim Legler right now in studio, Golic and Wingo. Legs shot 52% from 3 in 95-96, which is when you won the 3-point contest. 3rd highest percentage ever in a single season, and highest for a player who shot at least 200 threes in a season. I say that because the Rockets had 10 threes in the fourth quarter last night. That's matching the most in a fourth quarter in NBA history. They've got 7 games with at least 23-pointers. How crazy is that, Mike?
Yeah, it's incredible. They're incredible offensively. And if you were to compare it to a football team, you'd say, imagine a football team that lined up and ran the same play every snap, and you couldn't stop it. Because that's literally what they do. They have one set, a high ball screen. And whether it's Harden with the ball or Chris Paul with the ball, that's all they run. Either Clint Capella sets it, or Ryan Anderson, or Nene, whoever it may be, and then they just spot you up with 3-3-point shooters. But the 2 guys with the ball are so good at running ball screen and forcing you into having to help and recover. They kick it out, and they just beat you up from the 3-point line. It's really kind of fascinating to watch. Now, will that translate to a team that can get it done when you play an elite team like Golden State down the road, potentially in the conference finals? Remains to be seen, but at least in a regular season, this is a team that's really virtually impossible to defend because you just don't have enough time to go over all your coverages when you've got one practice or one film session, and now here you are, you're playing the Houston Rockets there in front of your face.
So in a different way to ask the exact same question, we've talked about Houston, we talked about Cleveland. I'm telling you right now, Golden State is going to lose in the playoffs, whether it's in the Western Conference Finals or the Finals. Which team will beat them? Which team has the best chance to beat them?
Probably Cleveland. Probably Cleveland now with the way that they look. I think they went overnight. They went from a team that I thought was going to get beat in the second round to a team that I think is going to be back in the finals again. I just think Houston plays too similar a style and a pace for the Golden State Warriors. And if you try to play the same kind of game, nobody has the
weapons.
And
they're deeper than you.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And they do more than just, their role players do more than just catch and shoot threes. There are guys that can attack you off the dribble, and the way they move the ball with, the greatest shooting team that we've ever seen. I think Houston's going to have a hard time getting by Golden State. So I think Cleveland might be more built to do that now, because at the end of the day, they still have something very unique. They have LeBron James. Nobody else in the league has one of those. So I would go with Cleveland.
Doing a Twitter view with Legs, couple minutes here. These tweets through the 1-800-Flowers.com Twitter feed. Legs, Mike wants to know, hashtag Twitter view, is there any chance the Knicks are not a joke within the next 5 years? Yeah,
there's a chance, but it's going to completely hinge around Kristaps Porzingis coming back, making it all the way back. And, that first year is going to be rough. So if he's out a calendar year, he comes back next February, well, don't expect too much the rest of the season next year. So you're really talking about the following season. And if he makes it all the way back, yes, there is a chance. And you do have hope. It's going to take that, though, at the top of the list. Mm-hmm. Ntilikina is going to have to develop at a rapid pace next season while Porzingis is out. You need to see massive growth out of him in the offseason and a much more complete player next year, because he was a lottery pick. And so you can't whiff on those. He's a guy that's got to take a big step forward. So there's a chance, and you can always make up ground quicker in the East than you can the West. Yep. So I just gave Knicks fans hopefully a lot of hope, but it's going to be a couple of years away minimum, because it's all going to hinge around Porzingis, and he just won't be the same player until probably the year after next.
All right, Frank, we already answered your question. You asked, is the hype of the new look Cavs too early? Well, we've kind of answered that. So a couple of more quickies. What's your favorite Valentine's Day candy?
It's easy. It's the candy hearts, but it's the big ones. I hate the small ones. They're way too crunchy.
Right.
The big ones are softer. And my wife will tell you.
More chew. Okay, gotcha.
It's a joke how badly I go through those things.
Really?
When she loads up, she must get 10 bags of those things for the month.
Really?
And then they're just constantly.
For the entire month. So you don't just eat them on Valentine's Day.
Oh,
it's
no.
Okay.
No, that starts, discount tomorrow.
Yeah, that starts around February 1.
Okay.
I treat that similar to Halloween and Christmas. That's a month-long thing. And I'm just constantly, every time I walk by that candy dish on the island in the kitchen, I'm grabbing 3.
That's typically
what I do.
Well, and speaking of grabbing 3, Monty wants to know, where do you keep your 3-point shootout trophy?
I keep that in I guess you call it like an entertainment center in a room in my house. It's a big glass window. Keep it in there. And my friends, late night when I have them over and we're hanging out a little bit, having some fun, typically we'll do something with it and desecrate it in some way and take really weird
Stanley
pictures
Cup,
with it. Yeah, it's ended up in a lot of strange photos.
Do you remember all the participants? Or most of them?
I could probably get him. Yeah, it would take some time. I know I beat Dennis Scott in the finals.
Dennis Scott, you beat in the final.
I know Steve Kerr was in it.
Yep.
I know Cliff Robinson was in it.
Right.
Hubert Davis was in it.
George McLeod.
Dana
Barros.
Oh, I forgot
and
Dana.
Glenn Rice.
I knew that's right. Glenn Rice was the defending champ.
Scott, McLeod, and Kerr made it to the semis. Then you and Dennis Scott made it to the finals. You're still the only person to score over 20 points in all 3 rounds. Now, I believe they just do 2. Last year, it was Eric Gordon that won. He did 3 rounds, but one was a tiebreaker.
Gotcha, yeah.
Tiebreaker round.
So I think that record is safe, 65 points
65 points, 23, 22, and 20. Still the only one to go over 20 in 3 rounds.
And they did change the rules now because you can get 34
off the money balls
for a perfect round because they added 4 money balls to your favorite spot.
And what was your perfect round?
30. 30 was the highest you could get.
So you could score less, but you still hold the record. So this new 3-point shooting stuff, they got nothing on you.
Forever the champ, Tim Legler.
That's exactly
Thanks
right.
A lot, Legs.
Thanks, Legs.
Golic
Makes me want to vomit and then punch you square in the face.
and Wingo.
Oh, he's saucy today.
Thanks to Cliff for hooking me up. How do I? What is love was my request
go.
today. Yeah, crank that sucker up.
I still can't believe we've had one Lionel Richie song and no Whitney Houston songs. It's a joke.
Still got time. Adnan Virk in for Trey. It's Golic and Wingo on ESPN Radio and ESPN2. How's this for a mea culpa and coming clean?
Okay.
Woman felt remorse for stealing a bar of soap when she was 12. And so the woman's surname QU, now 30, arrived at a department store with 100 bars of perfume soap, the same kind she had shoplifted 18 years ago. She explained that at the time her mother had really wanted the papaya-scented soap but couldn't afford it.
Right.
This has been a weight on my heart all these years, she told the store employee, because it's the worst thing I've done in my life. Store's owner was deeply moved by the gesture and paid the soap forward to sanitation workers free of charge. And Q said the whole experience has been very therapeutic. Last year I was suffering from depression, but now I'm better. Now I treat every day as if it was my last. 1 bar of soap she took. Here's 118 years later.
Well, what I took out of that story is her saying that's the worst thing she's ever done in her life. We could only hope to have that kind of life, huh? The worst thing you do is take a bar of soap?
Right.
Holy smokes.
You think about, kids
that's
being
like
kids.
sainthood, isn't it? I mean,
right.
really?
If that's the worst you've done, you go ahead and go right to the pearly gates.
You're not kidding.
Yeah. So that's
Wow.
her whip. I just think it's interesting to go 100. Like, I thought if you just,
that's really making up for it, huh?
I was about to say, if you just returned 1, the gesture's clear. Like,
she went 100-fold.
No, I'm going 100-fold to make up for this. Coming up next hour, by the way, we're going to talk to Katie Nolan, Valentine's Day edition of Love It or Shove It. So that's coming up around 10 minutes from now. But did want to just revisit for a couple minutes, Mike, this whole issue of Steve Kerr and the fact that he let his players run a couple plays. And Tim Legler, who we just had on, Legs is always a great asset to the show and to the company, was telling us he did have an issue with it. And he was critical of it on ESPN Airwaves yesterday, as he was telling us. It's not the fact that he did it, the players ran some plays. He goes, but just the fact that Kerr seems to be so sensitive to it. The fact that he took criticism for it. He said, it's not like, he goes, to really empower the players, that would be at a practice saying, hey, you know what, you guys come up with a couple of sets and then you guys run it. That is actually empowering your players and giving them freedom. He goes, 90 seconds of giggling through a timeout, that's not doing anything. And he goes, I have no issue with running up score. I don't believe that stuff. You're a professional athlete, do what you want.
Yeah.
And he said, I thought the Suns handled it fine. You win at all costs. He goes, but I just don't get why Kerr's getting praised for it as if it's a revolutionary idea. It's ridiculous.
I am stunned where this has gone.
Yeah.
I gave my opinion on it, and I give my opinion. That's why I think it's right. I think that's what happened. That's why I give my opinion.
Yeah.
This was halfway through the season. You're destroying an opponent.
Right.
You're breaking up monotony and have a little bit of fun. To think that this is some revolutionary thing that other coaches are going to start doing it, and Steve Kerr is this visionary for doing it, to me is laughable. Laughable. He couldn't get up there at the end of the game and say, I was doing it because it's monotony. We're killing these guys. I'm letting my guys have some fun. Right. So he comes up with the team is the players, and that whole philosophy. Right. This was nothing. Nothing. This was them having some fun during a game because they're blowing out an opponent. It's not going to start a trend. Right. Players aren't going to start writing up plays. And so what? Legler's right when he was talking to us off air. Have some guys do something in practice. Right. Do something meaningful and with meat in practice that carries over into a game. I can't believe all the press this is getting like this is some revolutionary thing that's going to keep happening. Yeah. This is some fun they were having on a mid-season night.
This has been the Best of Golic and Wingo podcast. Make sure to subscribe on the ESPN app, Apple Podcasts, and to listen every weekday morning at 6 Eastern on ESPN Radio, ESPN2, and the ESPN app.